all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. I've been super excited for this conversation with visionaries behind a brand that's completely disrupting the traditional wellness landscape. I'm joined by Jessica and Damien Zouaoui, who are the co-founders of the Oakwell Beer Spa. After leading comfortable corporate careers, they embarked on a 14-month, 25-country journey to research global hospitality concepts before building their business from scratch. Today, Oakwell Beer Spa has been named one of the best spas in America by USA Today, included in Time's World's Greatest Places list and recognized by Entrepreneur as a top mom and pop shop. They've successfully blended thermal water therapies with craft beer culture to break the traditional spa gender gap, and they're now scaling their revolutionary concept coast to coast. They're a national franchise model. Welcome to the show, Jessica and Damien.
We're excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, excited to have you. Jessica, Damien, you both left comfortable corporate careers to build this concept completely from scratch. What was the primary strategic discomfort you faced when transitioning from the corporate ladder to spending 14 months traveling across 25 countries researching global bathing traditions?
It was scary, right? You have these corporate jobs, you're well paid, you're living the life in New York City, you're going to restaurants and bars and museums. We were both getting promoted every year. We were really living the life, but at the end of the day, we felt professionally unfulfilled. We felt like we could do more with our lives, more with our careers. We would constantly brainstorm business ideas when we would get home from work over a pint of beer or a glass of wine. So at the time, we had just gotten married and we decided if we're going to do something risky, now is the time to do it before we have kids and a mortgage. So we both quit our jobs at the same time, packed 2 backpacks and headed off on what was to be an indefinite round the world trip, looking for interesting business concepts that we could bring back and scale in the United States. But don't get me wrong, this was not a cushy travel experience by any means. We were backpacking, staying in hostels, staying in $7 a night hotels in Thailand with cockroaches crawling all over the place. So there was a lot of discomfort along the way.
Amazing. And you've managed to bridge a massive gender gap. Nearly 50% of your guests are men, which is astronomical for the spa industry. Damien, how did you use the craft beer element as a hidden driver to make wellness approachable for first-time spa goers who would otherwise never step foot into a traditional spa?
Well, we make beer sexy enough so the ladies can bring their men into the spa. But overall, you're right. Beer is a tool for us to ease yourself into relaxation. This is at a party place. You're never drinking 2 pints or 2 glasses of wine or non-alcoholic beverage. We've always believed that there is a place missing in the US where we can bring both genders together and helping them to reconnect. We do that with beer, wine, cider, non-alcoholic beverage. But as well, sometimes if you want to drink, this is fine. You don't need to drink. We have sparkling water, we have juices. And this is what really helps people to come, no matter where they are from, what's their gender. Have they came to a spa before? Often, no, this is their first time coming to a spa. So we're breaking that stigma that the day spa was meant to be for women. And with that in mind, we are as well leveraging music, scents, the whole experience atmosphere you have in a regular day spa. We're able to remove that and create your own secret sauce and help the men to feel good as soon as they come in. And it doesn't smell beer for the women. That's very important.
That is important. Your business plan was incredibly detailed and targeted. When translating a European bathing concept to fit the American market, what was the biggest operational or cultural friction point that you had to resolve in order to ensure that the business model was scalable?
One of the biggest cultural aspects was that in Europe and in Asia, a lot of the spas are communal and a lot of them are clothing optional. So Americans being a little bit less willing to be naked in front of strangers, we knew we would have to create private spa suites instead of having these communal bathing facilities that you find at the onsens in Japan or the jjimjilbangs in South Korea or the beer spas that you find in Eastern Europe. So that was one of the biggest things, as well as the decor and the design, I would say, is the second aspect. So a lot of spas in Eastern Europe, a lot of spas in Asia are very dated. They look quite old. They're not very hip and trendy. We knew that our target audience would be millennials, Generation Z. And so we had to create an atmosphere that those demographics would identify with. So our interior design looks more like a boutique hotel lobby. There's a lot of velvets, there's blues and greens. We have tons of plants, brass fixtures. So it's very modern, it's very hip, and does not feel like the stuffy spas that you often find both in Asia and Europe, as well as even in the United States.
Okay, so I have to ask, you recently navigated a massive personal and professional milestone by welcoming a new baby right alongside running this growing empire. For the entrepreneurial couples that are listening, what's your ultimate system for protecting your partnership and staying aligned when the demands of the business and family collide?
Yeah, so we actually have a 2-year-old at home, a toddler, as well as a 2-month-old at home. So we have our hands full. I think from the beginning, we made it very clear that, we both have our own lanes that we stay in when it comes to the business. So we're not stepping on each other's toes. Damien's expertise is sales, marketing, IT. I take care of operations, HR, finance, legal. We come together to collaborate and to ask each other questions and to brainstorm, but we're really staying in our own lanes. And that prevents us from butting heads too much. And the one other thing that we decided early on is when it comes to financial decisions with the business, if we're at an impasse where we can't make a decision on something that's going to require some significant expenditure, whoever wants to spend the least amount of money gets that ultimate win.
Your model relies heavily on self-guided private spa suites rather than the traditional treatment table model. From a pure business and labor standpoint, how does removing the constant need for one-on-one service providers change essentially the profit margins, but also we'll talk about the scalability of a franchise location?
Removing the need for massage therapists and estheticians has been a game changer for us. When we were creating the business, we talked to a lot of spa owners, and that was their number one headache, is dealing with finding massage therapists and estheticians, retaining them, but also if they get sick and they call out from work, then you're having to cancel their entire appointment book for the day. So we thought about how can we create a spa that has the same price point, that has the same level of luxury, but all of the services are self-guided, where we recruit primarily from hospitality industry as well as housekeepers. So it's been a huge game changer for us. We're able to build a team that we can really rely on, as well as, to your point, our labor costs are much lower than what a traditional spa would have to deal with.
And we talk a lot about stewardship of values on this show. You offer an attainable luxury experience that's built to be recession proof. How do you protect that core value of accessibility while still maintaining the premium standards that landed you on Time's World's Greatest Places list?
It's really all comes down to the guest service. We have a comprehensive 5-star service standards that we train all of our employees on. We modeled it after Four Seasons and Ritz-Carlton, everything from if a guest asks where the restroom is, you walk them to the restroom. You don't just point down the hallway. If we are pointing at something, we use an open palm. We don't use a finger. There's language that we can and can't use. We never say no worries in response to a guest's question. There was no worries to begin with. We say, you're my pleasure, or absolutely. So these things cost no money, right? You can remain accessible by having an affordable price point that guests don't need to spend an arm and a leg to come to, but you maintain that luxury level of guest service, which it all comes down to training and consistency.
You've built a massive social media reach of over 33,000 millennial consumers. In today's highly transparent feedback economy, how is keeping your brand messaging authentic and human-centered allowed you to stand out from clinical or corporate wellness giants?
We are always focusing our messaging on come and have a good time, and our place is open to whoever wants to come and wants to have a good time. We are avoiding promoting on price, the deal, the aggressive membership tactics. We're just here right now to create desirability, and we're here to make sure that whenever you see our ads or social media posts, you might want to look at your partner and say, well, let's do this for a date night, or let's celebrate our anniversary, or even better, let's surprise my partner or whoever want to celebrate with me something unique. And that's what we focus on.
Amazing. Again, I've been chatting with Jessica and Damien Zouaoui, the co-founders of Oakwell Beer Spa. I'm fascinated by the model. I know our listeners will be too, and I'm sure that they will want to learn more, not only about the spa, but also about the growth that you're experiencing in the franchise opportunities. How can they learn more and get in touch?
Really easy. Our website is oakwell.com. All of our social media handles, Instagram, Facebook, Oakwell Beer Spa. Franchise opportunities is on oakwellfranchising.com. And we're also on LinkedIn, TikTok, pretty much anywhere that you can find us. It's either Oakwell or Oakwell Beer Spa.
Thank you, Jessica and Damien. Thank you so, so much. I'm fascinated by the work that you're doing, and I hope that you will not be a stranger. Continue to come back and share your experience, your story with fellow entrepreneurs here on Get Down to Business. We are grateful for that. And believe it or not, that's a wrap for us this week. Jam-packed lineup of guests all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. And on my website, syklein.com, syklein.com. And of course, go on your favorite podcast app. Just search for Get Down to Business. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review, and share so you don't miss a single episode. To success, let's get down to business.